Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. There is a team that I do want to talk about, and it's the Illinois Fighting Illini. And I want to go back to Sunday Night Show. On Sunday Night Show, we did a live stream. And I want to give credit to a listener. Obviously, there's no way to go back and see what questions were asked during the live stream, but it was a listener. I think it's like B99 or B9999 or something like that. I believe he is a big North Carolina fan of all teams for some reason. And he put a question in the comments that we used on the show. And he said, Torres, do you think that Illinois has the highest upside of anyone in college basketball? And I thought it was a great question. And I think we have to revisit that question because Illinois on Wednesday night beat Penn State by 39 points without their best player. They are steamrolling everybody. I think you can argue they are playing right now as well as anybody in college basketball, but also to the question we got 2 or 3 days ago. I think there is a legitimate argument that this team has as much upside as anybody in the sport. Listen, last couple weeks have been great. That game on Wednesday night was a freaking statement, okay? So Illinois was without not only their best player, but a guy that, again, he's maybe I don't think it's hyperbole. He might be my favorite player to watch in all of college basketball. Kasparas Jakubionis. He is a Lithuanian point guard. I've said it 100 times. Listen, it's unfair. I hate comparing high school players and college players to established NBA guys. So I'm not saying this guy is this guy, but he reminds me so much of Luka Doncic. Not saying he's going to be Luka, not saying he is Luka. I'm saying he reminds me of Luka. Big guard, 6'6", maybe 6'7", gets to all his spots, great passer, great in the pick and roll. He is playing at an All-American level as a true freshman in college basketball, and he's going to be a lottery pick this season, and he did not play on Wednesday night against Penn State. This kid is averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 41% three-point shooting on the season. So if I talk more Illinois this year, forgive me, but I love watching him play. But the crazy part was Illinois won without him on Wednesday night. They destroyed Penn State, who was actually playing very well. And this shows you the depth of this team, the talent of this team, and the capabilities of this team, okay, as well. Ben Hummerkaus, probably, I don't know if it's his best game, but I actually really like his game. He finished with 21 points in this game, 5 of 9 shooting from 3. He's one of these veteran, older transfers, came from the Missouri Valley. I believe he started like D2, D3, but he's kind of that perfect, pace and space, 6'9", 6'10", power forward type that can hit threes. Like I said, 5 of them on Wednesday night. Will Riley has been playing really well. The kid that I really like, Merez Johnson, big man off the bench, had 20 points in this game, but I just love the effort that he plays with, the energy that he plays with. And then I think as importantly, there were a couple of transfers I remember talking about in the offseason when they committed. I know some of those guys are transfers, by the way. Hummerkaus is for sure. But Trey White came from Louisville. Now, remember, I live in Southern California. It was interesting because 2 years ago, Trey White was at USC. He was awesome. Goes to Louisville. He takes a step back. And I was like, I still think that kid's pretty good. Well, he had 20 points on Wednesday night. And I think he's starting to play his best basketball. 20 points on Wednesday night, 17 on Sunday against Washington, 20 last Thursday against Oregon. By the way, Big Z's, Zvonimir Ivisic, his brother Tomislav Ivisic plays there as well. And you look at this team, one, I think they're perfectly built, and they're playing insane basketball. You know that they've quietly won 6 of their last 7 games. This is the Illinois Fighting Illini. And it's not like they haven't played anybody. They've won 6 of their last 7. They beat a Wisconsin team who's actually playing really, really, really well. Their only loss, by the way, during that stretch was to Tennessee in a loss essentially at the buzzer. Come back, beat Missouri in the bragging rights game. That was a really fun game. I watched that live. Then, of course, last week was the statement game. 32-point win against Oregon when Oregon was ranked in the top 10 at that time. It was the biggest loss ever for a top 10 team at home. Illinois puts up 109 on them, and then they come back and they do what they do. They beat Washington the other day, and then they fly home on short rest and take care of business against Penn State by 39 points, again, without their best player. And so when I look at Illinois, what stands out to me is a couple things. What stands out to me that feels pretty obvious is that, one, they're very talented. They're playing good basketball. But to the original question, do they have as much upside as anybody in college basketball? I think the answer is yes, and let me explain why. I am not saying today that Illinois is better than Tennessee or better than Auburn. By the way, they're pretty close to Tennessee because they almost beat them at home. I'm not saying they're better than Auburn. Not saying they're better than Tennessee. Not saying they're better than Iowa State. But here's the thing. Auburn, that whole team is seniors. They're awesome. Auburn's the best team in college basketball that I've seen. But the big question to me is pretty straightforward. Is Auburn's already hit their ceiling. It's just a matter of if they are playing their best, I don't know who can beat them. Tennessee, veteran teams, Zakai Siegler, senior, Chaz Lanier, senior, Jemai Mashak's been there a minute. Iowa State, that whole team came back from last year. Well, Illinois' best players, freshman Yakashonis, NBA player, but that has nothing to do with it, but he's a freshman. Morez Johnson playing really well. He's a freshman. Big Z is 21, 22, but he is technically in his first year of college basketball. I think he's listed as a sophomore because can't make 22-year-olds freshmen. But they're a young team, and I think they're only getting better, and I think they're only getting more confident. Now, the one thing I will say, this is college basketball. It's not college football. You're going to take losses along the way. Interesting schedule coming up, to say the least. USC and Eric Musselman come to town this weekend. Also at Indiana, which is all of a sudden playing really good basketball. They're 13-3, 4-1 in the Big Ten. And Michigan State, which actually plays on Thursday night, so these results may change. Michigan State is undefeated in Big Ten play as well. But I got to give credit to Illinois. To me, I really think they might have as much upside as anybody in college basketball. Next week, by the way, maybe we do our updated not top 25, our updated Final Four national championship picks. I think right now, if I was picking a Final Four, I would probably have Illinois in it, and I certainly think they're the best team that I have seen in the Big